Hey guys, editing me here. So the video you're about to watch, I consider a archive video, meaning it has been filmed over the course of a few months or over the course of a few years and is just now being edited. So below the video, over on the left-hand side, you're going to see any time jumps, especially if there are significant time jumps, to kind of explain why I might look different or why my environment looks different. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for waiting for me to actually finish editing them. Hello. As of filming this, it is May 3rd. I went fabric shopping some time ago. I don't think I ever shared what I got, and today is one of those days where I have the biggest craft bug. I'm feeling productive, but I want to craft the things that I need to craft, which are amigurumis for the upcoming May 13th market, which is happening in 10 days from now. Tomorrow is Star Wars Day, and I want to do some amigurumis to post then. So basically, there's things I need to do, but I don't feel like doing right now, because I want to do a little bit of this. So, being ambitious, because I expect this video to be posted sometime in June. No promises, because I don't like editing. So, what I got are these patterns from Joann's. So this is a vintage dress pattern that I just absolutely love. I didn't buy any material for this, but in the future you might see this one from me, and each of these patterns were $2, so I bought a lot. This one I plan on making to match the cowboy boots, and I'll show you guys the fabric that I'm using for each one. So I'm planning on making like dress C, but with cap sleeves. I don't know. This one I'm gonna have to play around with. This one I bought because it was just absolutely adorable. This one, I have no idea if this is gonna work for me, so to say, but I did buy fabric to make this outfit right here. And finally, the last pattern I got, which is the one we're gonna be doing today, is this one. Not a fan of this dress, but I got it for this dress right here. That's what we're gonna try to make, and the goal is to have this dress done by May 13th because weather here has been warmer than usual. Suddenly, we've had a long winter, and I think summer just finally kicked in. So I really would love to make this for the May 13th market. So that's what we're going to try. I have 10 days. Fingers crossed I can get this done in 2 days. So I'm going to get a good chunk of it done today, hopefully, before I have to go to work, and finish it maybe this week. And these are the materials that I bought. So, starting off with the cowboy dress, because that's what's on top, I got red thread and a zipper for it, along with this gorgeous red fabric, which is not what I originally planned for that dress, but it turns out my cowboy boots actually have more red tone to them than pink tones. So still plan on making a pink floral dress that I really want to do, but that'll probably be a different video. And this is the floral material that I got for that vintage outfit, which is the whole reason I bought that pattern, because I loved this fabric. The pattern also called for buttons on the side, which you don't really see, so I just got some black ones. So that'll be for the vintage like floral summer outfit. And finally, the material that I have to make the dress that we're going to start making today is this fabric. I originally wanted like a gingham plaid print, but there wasn't a shade that I like because most of them are pastels, and as you can probably tell from this shirt, because it's just a cute scrap shirt I have, pastels are not my color. But I got this cool fabric that looks like denim. Here are the buttons for the front, which is the thing I'm probably the most nervous on, because for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to do a buttonhole on my sewing machine. So we're going to try to figure that out. If it doesn't work, I might be hand stitching some buttonholes. We shall see. And of course, some thread for this. So what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to pull this out, figure out what size I need to cut, and get these pattern pieces cut and have them pinned out. So I'm just going to skip that, and I'll see you guys then. Hi, so I don't know if this is a dumb moment or a good thing I caught it when I did moment. So here is the fabric I got. It is a 100% cotton, and I knew that, and I washed it to prevent it from shrinking. Well, I'm glad I caught it, because this is supposed to be 44 inches wide when it's unfolded. It's folded in half right now. By washing and drying it, I lost about 2 inches of fabric, and because of that, specifically those are the skirt pieces, they just barely fit along here. So I'm gonna try to lay out what I need, and what are you doing? And hopefully I'm able to fit everything, because I really don't have to go back to the fabric store. Well, after a couple of trial and error with puzzle piecing, I fit it to the best of my ability using most of the fabric, which is pretty good. I try to avoid these gaps with the straps and smaller pieces here. You really have a hard time avoiding that. So, only thing I think I'm going to have to change, I have to cut out 4 of these pieces, so that is going to fit right there, which is what I was measuring. Thank you, sir. But unfortunately, the pocket It's gonna be have to cut against the grain, and usually I wouldn't care about the grain because I work with like multi-prints, but I wanted these stripes specifically vertical for this dress and not horizontal. But I think because these pockets are on the inside, I'll have to check the pattern. It's not going to be a big deal, so they're just gonna have to be cut here, and hopefully I'm able to fit 4 on this fabric. I think I should be able to, but if not, we'll see. I think 1 or 2 pieces are gonna have to be like this, 2 pieces are gonna have to be like that, which is unfortunate, but if the pockets are on the inside, I don't think it's gonna matter. So I'm gonna cut these guys out, pin another one of those, and cut the pockets out, and everything should be done. Took me a little longer than I thought. And the other thing that I couldn't avoid was, just because the fabric did shrink by 1 inch per side, there is going to be a little bit of this white part in this cut, but with the seam allowance, it shouldn't be that noticeable. And if I can take off that little bit without messing up the skirt in the bottom half right here, I will do that. So I'm going to cut this out. Alright, everything has been ironed and pressed, and I was able to trim a little bit off of the skirt to get rid of that white part, but I was also able to get those pockets cut. So these are the only pieces that aren't with the grain, so the stripes are facing horizontal rather than vertical, but I believe, like I said, the pockets are on the inside, so that's not going to matter. It's the fact that I was able to cut everything out and only have this scrappy left over, which is great and a little nerve-wracking in the sense that if I mess up somewhere, I'm thinking the facing, this is all I have left to cut out another, and I don't think it's even long enough for the facing pieces. While they're small, they were just long. See, that wouldn't even be enough to cut another. Oh wait, oh, maybe about 1 inch shorter. My point is, I can't mess up. Quick look through of my trash real quick. These are the scraps that were left over, which are just tiny pieces that honestly you can use anything for. So the fact that I had pretty much the exact amount of fabric I needed with only this to go in the stash or to use in this at some point, I am proud of myself. So now that everything's cut out, I have to hunt down the interfacing I have somewhere to cut these. And I'm going to flip through the pattern and see how to sew. I probably not get to sewing today though. And another thing that I completely forgot in the world of sewing is, well, not forgetting the cutting process, but my upper back specifically is killing me right now for being in what Rachel Maksy calls the floor troll position. So yeah, I forgot that element, not necessarily fun. And my mom's like, well, why didn't you just cut on the table? Because my table didn't have enough area space, especially for the puzzle piecing that I had to do. So I probably won't get to sewing today. I am sweating a lot right now. It's also hot outside. So, won't get to sewing today, but I'll see you guys tomorrow, and based off the progress I made now, I might be able to finish this dress in 2 days, which is super nice. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow for sewing. Good morning. So, I'm wearing a cami and some bike shorts because I'm going to be doing a lot of trying on and off today. So, I lied. I actually went ahead and did a couple of things last night, and by that, I pressed the interfacing onto the pieces that needed it, which was this piece, and this is my new favorite sewing term. This is called a placket. I feel like you have to say it though, like, placket. But that is for the buttonholes actually in the front. I seriously thought it was a waistband of some sort. And the other things were just the interfacings, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I think everyone has the things they love and they hate in sewing. Rachel's is doing bodices, which I get, and installing zippers, which were the opposite in that regard. I love installing zippers. I can do invisible zippers really well. But interfacing, for some reason, it always likes to bubble on me, and it always messes up the collar line. So hopefully, because I'm being more precise with my sewing and taking my time with it, maybe it won't be such a pain, but we shall see. I don't have to do this until later. I also went ahead and pressed things that need pressing. In this case, this is my first time ever doing pleats on my own. I used to do sewing classes, but anytime when it comes to pleating, or I don't think I've ever had to do a dart specifically, so this took me a little bit. These are the straps. The straps have a little pleat, which it's kind of small, so it kind of took me a minute to get it straight. You're supposed to slay stitch these so they don't move on you, but I think because of how I pinned it, there's 2 pins per pleat on each side, and there's 4 of these. I think there's 4. Yeah, there's 4. So I think it should be fine when I come to sewing it. So I had to pleat the straps and, of course, pleat the skirt. I also pinned the side seams. I will have to unpin these seams because I have to put pockets in this side. And then the back is actually a middle seam. So until I get that seam sewn, then those pleats actually meet up in the middle. So if I look, that's pinned right there. And I've been trying on pieces as I go. The structure of the bodice, the problem that I was worried I would come across, I came across when trying it on. So basically, because I'm big busted, the buttonhole from like the middle part right here is going to gape and it's going to be tight. So I knew that was a possibility going into it, but it's not super bad. At least I don't think it's going to be super bad. But as a precaution, instead of doing a 5/8 of a seam allowance that I was planning, I'm gonna do a 1/2 inch. I think a 1/2 inch will be okay. 1/4 inch is, I think, was too small, but I think the 1/2 inch will give me that little extra space that I need. And I'll probably have to put a hook and eye there. And now's the fun part. I have to go find my machine, which just should be evidence enough that I don't know where it is. I have a feeling it's somewhere over here, which is just a bunch of started projects. Other things, I know my serger is in there, but my serger's been having problems. I didn't use that haven't used that since Halloween. I have a feeling it's like here. I'm gonna go find it real quick, and I have to load up the thread and bobbin. Ah, there you are. Now I have to get you. Well, not so great news. I just misplaced my thread. I found the red one for the other dress, but I cannot find the blue one that I pulled aside. I got the buttons right here, so I must have moved it, but I don't know where it went. And machine's all set up, ready to go. It seems to be pretty good condition. But now I have to find the thread, and I really don't know where I put it, so hopefully that doesn't take me all day just to find the thread. The thread has finally been found about 2 hours later. I kid you not, it is almost 3 o'clock. I started at around 12:30 and maybe spent 15 minutes, half hour just filming what I filmed. Found the thread. I was going crazy. So it turns out the dog got a hold of it. So my sister saved it and put it on a shelf in her room, but she forgot to tell me that she saved it. So the whole time of me thinking it fell somewhere and was on the ground, it was not, it was in her room. But now that I finally found it, I'm able to now sew, despite losing about 2 hours of craft time. So it does put me behind today for what I need to get done, but I think with how the dress is constructed and how things are, I should be okay. So now I can actually get to work. Actually sewing again. Definitely has a nostalgic feel because this was the first craft I really learned. So this is the bodice. I'm going to sew all these together. I just tacked down the pleats in the straps, and I'll sew those after I get this done. So back to sewing. Yay! Alright, so I went ahead and pressed some seams. These two front seams, they need to be clipped a little bit because they like to bubble, but there isn't too much of boob shaping for it to actually buckle too much. So everything's been pressed, so the top part's done, and the straps, kind of confusing. You're supposed to sew along these dots, but for me that seems like such a big seam allowance. I'm going to be doing it, but hopefully it doesn't make it like a really tiny straps. Okay, so I actually sewed these with the 5/8 the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I thought they'd be really skinny. They actually don't look that bad. I'm gonna trim this down, turn them right side out, and then press. And then these should be good. And I think next is the skirt, which is the pocket situation. Okay, so I pressed and turned the straps. I kind of lost a little bit of the pleating. I'm not sure if that was an error on my part when pressing, or if it's only supposed to be like a subtle pleat. Gonna kind of leave it because honestly, from a distance and because the fabric's dark, you cannot really tell that there's a pleat there. And as for the bodice piece with the 1/2 inch seam allowance, I think it gave me that little bit of space that I needed, and there's not really much gaping anywhere because I haven't obviously sewn the other pieces yet. And I know in the front there'll be overlap for the buttons, but I'm not sure how much that will be taken up from these sides because I'm trying to avoid the bubble that can form with buttonholes in the front. This only happens to people who have boobs. I know it seems like the waist seems small because like it goes like this. It's probably not up as high as it needs to be because the waistline is not, I don't think it's like down here. It's more a little bit on the upper side. I'm not sure. Oh, never mind. I lied. The waistline seems to be relatively normal. I don't know. Maybe it's a little short because my boobs lifted up more. I don't know. I think I'll have to wait until I actually attach the skirt, which is what we're going to do now. As you can see, I already pinned the pleats and pressed them. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is nail this back seam. Because once this guy is sewn, then I can line up these pleats with the actual center seam, which is why there's a little space right here. And then I think I'm going to be good just leaving the pins in where they're at because there's the 2 pins per pleat. And when I sew the top to this, it should be okay because this is an open skirt because the buttons are going to be coming along this way. So I'm going to leave it alone, sew the back seam, and then unpin the side seam because this is just me trying it on to make sure it would actually fit around my waist. Remove these and figure out how to insert pockets because I haven't done pockets in a hot minute. So we're going to get that back seam sewn. Not me unpinning this because I accidentally ironed out a pleat. Yeah, so I sewed the center seam, pressed it, and realized I pressed up my pleats. So now I gotta find that pattern piece, repress them, and then they should be good. But either way, I have to take the side seams apart because I have to figure out where the pockets go. So here's a quick laugh. You know how I said I cut the pockets against the grain, which didn't matter because you're not gonna see them anyway. I didn't realize this print, you can't really tell the difference regardless if I cut it on grain or not. So that's a thing. Pockets still somewhat confuse me. I get that portion, but usually it's the turning them out and then stitching them together. I don't get that. We're gonna try. Alright, so I had to Google what an understitching was, but basically, hopefully if I did this right, it's just stitching this seam so it lays flat and it doesn't bubble on you. Simple and straight. Here is the problem that I had earlier because my fabric did shrink. My debate is whether or not to trim this. You sew with the 5/8 of a seam. Blech. Why can I not say 5/8? This 5/8 seam allowance, but I think this is just over 5/8. Yeah, that bottom part is about 1 inch, so I'm like, I think I can sew 5/8, and when I hem it, that'll hide it. Maybe, hopefully, just because if I trim it, it's going to bring the skirt like this a little bit, and that can easily mess it up. I think I'm going to have to leave it. Hopefully that little bit of white doesn't show, and yeah, and hopefully I did this right. So I'm going to sew the pocket and side seam, and then we get to try on the skirt. Alright, look at this. I know we don't have any of the buttons in the front, so it's like, scandalous. But look at this, guys. It fits so well right now. And not to mention, these pockets are clean. Look at them. You can't even see it. I have never done an understitch like this before, but look at how clean those pockets are. It took me a minute to figure out how to do it, but hopefully everything's fine. I did think that the seam allowance is a little big for the pocket, because if you look, it's like almost 1 inch of me, like, you know, kind of messing up because it is a round curve, but because it's pocket, I don't have to clip these curves at all, and the thicker seam, I think, just makes it more, I don't know, I feel like it's more safe. If I were to put something heavy in here, it wouldn't, like, fall out because of the seam being thin. But this is the skirt, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put a couple hooks and eyes into, so this is actually the small of my waist, which I think is around 33 inches or so, and yeah, I think the problem is that I'm coming across is gonna be like a little bit of gaping here, which happens with button-up skirts on me, and then probably a little gaping on the bust, which happens because, you know, your girl's got lumps and bumps in places that doesn't make button-up necessarily friendly to her body type. But check out those pleats though. Alright, so now I gotta look and see what is next. I think I have to attach the straps to the top and do the inner facing on that. and then figure out how the bodice gets attached to the skirt. So I'm gonna have to finish the top, and probably won't film that because I don't think it's gonna be too exciting, so I'll film when that's done. And I think all that's left is to, well, not all that's left. All that's left of the main body is to sew the bodice to the skirt portion, and then figure out how the heck I'm going to be doing the buttons in the front. That's going to be new for me, but we got pockets! Look at that! Alright, so one of the things I didn't take into consideration when pinning the facing is, because I didn't sew the 5/8 seam allowance, the top part was a little wider than the facing, but fortunately, with a little bit of futzing around with it, it was kind of like pinning a sleeve, so it's a little bit bubbly in certain places, but basically when I sew, I just have to be cautious of that and make sure it doesn't pucker, because considering how clean everything looks so far, I really don't want to mess this up, but I need that 1/2 inch to make sure it gave me a little bit of the extension I need, but I'm gonna have to be careful when I stitch just so I don't have any bubbles. So I remember why I kind of hate facings. So in the sewing world, there was elements that was fine, but because, you know, on myself, I didn't do the full seam allowance where you're supposed to be, so I did have a little bit of hangover here. I'm hoping when I add the buttons, it'll just catch this part, and even if it's like a little bit, it won't be that bad. So, there's that. There's a couple little bit of puckering here and there. I did my best trying to, but even like seams that are not going to be seen, for example, you understitch this like that drives me crazy, even though that has no effect on the look on the outside. It's very clean on the outside though. There's like a little bit of bubble here and there on these straps. We're gonna try it on with the straps on. Straps I sewed on correctly. They're not twisted in any way, so that in itself is something I'm proud of. I'm just hoping that the straps aren't too short, because like I said, I don't have any extra fabric to cut some more, and I really don't want to seam rip this apart. Oh, dear. Okay, turns out these straps are longer than I thought. They might be a little too long for me, and there's a bubble going on here. Oh man. This bottom half fits fine. The bottom half where the waist, where the skirt is gonna go, that fits just fine. This is not flattering. Don't tell me I could have sewn the 5/8 at the seam allowance and it would be fine. I think that's the problem. Oh no, I really don't feel like seam ripping all of this. When I draped the straps, they seemed short. I think I'm gonna pause for today. The skirt, at least, is something I'm proud of. Came out super cute, and it's gonna fit nicely, but this upper bodice is going to need some repair. I think I might just do that off camera. There's potential right here. Obviously the front gape's open because I haven't even done the buttons yet, but I think I might do that just sometime later, because yeah, I'm gonna have to take the facing I just did out. I also am filming vertically so you can see me full body, so, but there's potential. Yeah, I'll take a break for the day. I thought this would be a 2-day project. I think this will end up being 3. Well, I just sewed that completely wrong, and all the edges are cut and clean. It looks all pretty. I'm supposed to stitch this the opposite way, so this band is supposed to be right here facing white, because you turn it in, and then you could tack it on the wrong side. I would be tacking it on the right side. So I gotta take this out and redo it, and hopefully, even though I trimmed edges, it doesn't mess anything up. I think it's fine. I just need to turn it around. There we go. So it's all pressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hem the bottom, which is also pressed, and then I have to stitch the pocket on, and then do the buttons and buttonholes. Oh boy. Sir, I just laid those out. Excuse me. You are terrible. Terrible cat. Get off the dress. Thank you. This is unattractive. So what I'm going to do is, the seam is actually here. I can line up the seam with the strap and put a dart, and that will pin it to where it needs to be, and I'm just going to hand stitch that. And then obviously it needs to be ironed. It's been in storage since I actually sewn these buttons, which need a little bit of trimming still. They get stuck a little easily. And then we will do the final reveal. She is done, and fun fact, she's actually been done for almost a year now, minus the darts. I realized that after the fact, but the buttons have been sewn for like a while. It's been in storage, which is why it needed to be ironed. But I'm just now filming the outro of this video. So, pros and cons with this pattern. I love the skirt portion. The pockets are super clean, and it was really easy to sew, despite the fact that I have not really worked with pleats before. The top is okay. It's not terrible. I think next time I will be following the seam allowance it said, because it still actually needs to be taken in a little bit more here, but I can't because the facing's here, and at first I was not liking the way the little darts were because the facing is already in and I didn't want to take it out to fix that. But it actually gathers in a somewhat flattering sense, and it's okay. It's not my favorite top. I had to significantly shorten the straps for me personally, so it actually eliminated that whole pleat detail on the ends of it. I think next time if I make another dress like this, I'm just not going to bother with the pleats and just do straight straps, just because I had to shorten them anyway. I might do another one of this style, probably the longer version, not the halter version, because halter doesn't work when you got girls. So I think I'll just do a longer version because I really like the skirt portion of it. It's super comfortable and it's really easy to style. I do love the pockets because they're super clean. I also noticed that I did miss a little portion of the white bit from when my fabric shrunk, and honestly, where it is, unless you're observing the bottom hemline, you're not going to see it, especially if I'm moving a lot. I just wish it kind of was hidden in a pleat, but unfortunately it's not. But that's just because my fabric shrank and I was, you know, very close and using all of it. But other than that, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I think by the time this video goes out, I think it'll be my first official sewing video. More of these I do plan on doing. I'm actually working on a few right now, or I was working on a few. It's been a few months since I've touched those projects, but the whole idea of getting back into sewing was to do hopefully more costumes and cosplays and stuff like that, but I got a plan for those things, which is why these videos kind of come out in chunks or much later than anticipated, because I buy things in stages. So there's never a time where I have everything from the get-go. It's usually here, a couple months, here, That's kind of how I've been doing it. And at the moment of filming this, it's about 2 weeks before my next May market for 2025. So I'm actually busy with that right now. And I got to take pictures with some products for a maker's highlight on the Facebook page. So that's why I wanted to make sure I filmed the outro of this video. And I will be wearing this on that market. So it's actually going to get some use to it. Use out of it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Which are amigurumis for the upcoming... Excuse me? This one is the one I'm planning on using to make for my cowboy boots, which... Sir, are you done? Shush. One sec. Get out. Stop crying. Shush. Go. Instead of a Frodo attack like Rachel, I have a Casper who is much worse when it comes to the paper of the pattern. You should have seen him when I was trying to cut. So, bleh. Oh, Jesus. Hi. How you doing, baby boy? You sleeping?